I'm Steve Moore, the Executive Director of the Southwest Business Improvement District. Thanks for being here today. Today our program is to launch our mobility district, and we have a You know, it's really, John sort of was into this a long, long time ago. We'll come back and talk about that in a second, but thank you for that, you know. And so we want to kind of, we ran our request for proposals. We want to show you kind of where that is. We're going to launch a program today. And then John's going to come back later, and actually we want to propose 2 other programs for us to undertake over the course of next year. So we think of ourselves as off and running. When we thought about the Southwest as a place to home a mobility district, we think of it actually as the perfect neighborhood. Think about it from a mobility standpoint for a second. L'Enfant Station serves 5 metro lines. And if you add VRE daily, that's larger than Union Station by 10,000 riders a day. The circulators here, we have our own neighborhood shuttle. Sarah is here. Federal agencies have their own shuttle service. The 74 bus is here, which runs from 6th and Mass all the way down to Buzzards Point. The cycle tracks here are absolutely exploding, as is the families on scooters, particularly in Independence on weekends. 9th and Main, pre-COVID, was the 2nd busiest lift and pickup and drop-off point in the region, pre-COVID. And here, the Washington Channel, the Potomac, the Anacostia, really undiscovered as places for commerce, recreation, and transportation. So we're comfortable with the mobility piece. And the question is, all of this infrastructure has to be rethought. Who's commuting when? VRE has to think about nights and weekends. The use of bikes and scooters is exploding. But again, Southwest is a perfect laboratory for the mobility projects we'll announce today. But innovation is a different thing. And take a second and think what's around us here. Bing Tom's redesign of the arena stage across the street 12 years ago. He builds a theater on top of a theater. Milton Maltz's lifelong desire to share his fascination with espionage and spycraft, the Spy Museum. Donna Westmoreland and Seth Horowitz created the Radio City Music Hall of rock music here on Main. Have you seen the Art Tech House? Every chef here is chasing a Michelin star. People ask me every once in a while, yeah, I get it, like the wharf, but is there technology there? I mean, maybe there's no tech there. And my answer is, well, there is a group at 4th and E. They launched the International Space Station. It's a little hard to see. It's 260 miles that way, and it travels at 17,000 miles an hour. Circles the Earth 16 times a day. Live video 24/7. Did you see the glass on this building next to us here? Do you notice how the building is sort of twisted a little bit? So the architect, Raphael Vignoli, he says to his team, I want the building to twist. I want the building to bend a little. And they say to him, as they should, you can't bend glass. And he doesn't accept that answer. And so on site, the team here, specially trained to install bent glass. Donna, Seth, Raphael, Milton, Bing, Monty, others, innovators. The Rubel family will open a contemporary art museum to rival the Whitney here at the Randall School in 2 weeks' time. A world-class contemporary art museum. Across the street from the largest collection of public housing in the city. This doesn't go unnoticed by us. This is a complicated neighborhood. Not everybody can afford to live here. Right? But we can use this work to reach out to our neighbors and make sure that they are all coming along with us for the ride. This is not just tech for tech's sake. Ideas and problem solving are the brand here. This is a perfect neighborhood to undertake this work, mobility innovation. To do this, you need a team, and we got lucky. John Falchicchio, Sharon Carney, Sabangale Cook, especially Jamie Scott, all on John's team. City5, Brandon Pollock, Kyle Reagan, Karina Ricks, Gabe Klein, thinkers about transportation nationally. We put together a team of advisors that we're very sort of pleased with. Sean Connon, Sarah Vasquez, Howard Ways, Jim Huck, David Downey. This is an exciting group of people to sit and chat about these problems with. Our own team locally is led by Lexi Albee, who's our managing director, and she's supported by both Pam Wolf and Zach Baldwin. This is the team who will travel together with us for the next few years as we begin this adventure. So today, we're looking at the announcement of a couple of projects. And you will get a chance later on to hear from Everett Lott of DDOT and Ben Levine from USDOT. The people and the resources that we use to launch this effort make it possible, Mayor, because you encourage them to do so. And we thank you for it. And so if you would, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Muriel Bowser, the Mayor of the District of Columbia.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm glad to be here in the Innovation District and in this square, second time, I think, in a week, to celebrate how we are advancing at the wharf, but more than that, how we are making sure that everybody can get to the wharf, get around the wharf, and celebrate all that we have to offer in our enlivened waterfront. I want to thank you, Steve, for your leadership and your excellent description of how the wharf fits into all of Southwest and how all of Southwest communicates with all of the District of Columbia. I loved your description of the innovators and the thinkers about all the big things that we have to do around getting people around the city. And I know we all appreciate that some of the biggest innovators are DC residents themselves. So they live these streets and waterways and parks every single day. And I'm always impressed by the transportation solutions and mobility solutions that they challenge us to think about because they themselves use it. They especially talk to us in Southwest about making sure that the visitors can get here, but the residents can get here too. And that continues to be our focus. I am grateful to John Falchicchio and his team, to Everett Lott at DDOT, and we are very grateful for the 37,000 public servants who are at your service. So with that, I want to proudly announce that the Southwest bid has selected the initial partner to focus on microtransit, who has earned a reputation for all-electric, on-demand transportation solutions. And that partner is Circuit. So to all of the leadership at Circuit, we're excited to see what you might do here. We are going to be a partner, and DC residents are going to continue to challenge us with big ideas about what we can do here in Southwest that we may implement across the District of Columbia. So, Steve, with that, I'll turn it back to you, and congratulations on this part of the process, and we look forward to much, much more.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to ask Alana and Karen to come and say a few words from Circuit, if you would. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations, by the way.
Amazing. Good morning, DC. I'm Alana. I am our Public Partnerships Manager from Circuit, and on behalf of our whole team, we'd like to thank the Mayor, SW Bid, DDOT, CityFi, and everyone else that made this project possible. At Circuit, we're on a mission to make short-range travel easier, greener, and more accessible. We use a fleet of 100% electric vehicles, like the one you see behind me, teams of W2 local drivers, and our on-demand app. We run successful projects and programs all across the nation, and we could not be more excited to be here in Washington, D.C. We're thrilled to read about this project that really focused on sustainability, green transportation, job creation, and access, and they align perfectly with our goals also at Circuit. We're really looking forward to working with the project stakeholders and community, and we could not be more appreciative of this opportunity to come here to DC and really make an impact and continue to grow to better serve our communities. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys. If I could, I'd like to ask the Deputy Mayor to come and join us. John Falchicchio.
Well, good morning, everyone. So I'm really happy to be here because this is actually the culmination of meetings that Mayor Bowser convened in the Wilson Building really actually probably 18 months ago or so when we were talking about the district's comeback. So we're still in the height of the pandemic, and the mayor said, we're going to get through this, and we'll get through it together, but how are we going to have a comeback? What's going to be our path to bringing people back, to bringing jobs back, and to bring economic vitality back to D.C.? And so we went out to the different business improvement districts and we said, so what are your ideas? What are your ideas to really do some placemaking and to make sure that your neighborhood thrives? And so the mayor funded in the budget a couple of innovation districts. One is the Anacostia Arts and Culture District. And when you think about historic Anacostia, think about all the cultural assets from the Frederick Douglass House to the Anacostia Art Center, to the Anacostia Playhouse, to the Go-Go Museum. And we put all those assets together and we're going to market them in a new way and we're going to help people get to and around that arts district. We're also working with the Golden Triangle bid to make sure that they are a new home of innovation and equity. When we looked at the jobs that were open in the Golden Triangle bid, there were thousands and thousands of tech jobs that were open that couldn't be filled. And so we have a focus through Mayor Bowser's investment in the Penn West Innovation and Equity District in DC talent filling DC tech jobs. So we got to go to an apprenticeship graduation the other day, and it was really moving to see those young people find their fair shot in the Penn West Equity and Innovation District. And then, you know, I'm a New York Yankees fan. Any other Yankees fans? Oh, one. Okay, good. We had a tough night last night. The mayor's not a Yankees fan. She's a Nationals fan. But we had a tough night last night. But I thought of a quote that the great Yogi Berra said. He was asked about a very popular restaurant in St. Louis, and he asked if he goes there, and he frequents the restaurant when he's in St. Louis. And he said, no, I don't go there. It's no one goes there anymore because it's too crowded. Thank you, Corey. So with that, when you think about all that's happening in Southwest, all the great amenities that are here, that are coming online now, all the great residents that live here, and new additions like the Rubel Museum that'll open later this month, there's really a lot of activity here. And what we want to do is make sure, the mayor says all the time, we're an amenity-rich city, that people get to visit these amenities and that they know how to get from point A to point B and have an enjoyable time and make sure that they come back again and again. So for our residents, it means that they're able to get to their job. This is a high opportunity area. The residents also get to enjoy all these great amenities. And they'll be able to move about Southwest DC now because of the Mobility Innovation District a lot easier and have a lot more options. And what we find works here, we're going to take to other neighborhoods too to make sure that those residents get access to that same great mobility option and those same great amenities and job opportunities as well. So when you think about it, it looks like we're standing in front of a few number of mobility options, right? I'm hopeful that at the end of this, they don't make us ride them all. But what it means for our residents is that this is part of our comeback. That's what Mayor Bowser set us out to do those 18 months ago when we were putting together the budget. And it's just great to be here with Steve, talk about all that we're going to offer to our residents and our visitors, and make sure that people can get around, and that Yogi Berra's quote doesn't come true for Southwest DC. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John. Everett Lott is here, the director of DDOT. Let's ask Everett to come and say a few words.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here today and this morning. And I really want to take a moment to recognize our mayor. At this time when the city was really in need of a major comeback, she made things a reality. Her leadership led us back and led us through the pandemic and got us through those setbacks. So under Mayor Bowser's leadership, I am tasked with delivering a safe, reliable, multimodal transportation network for the residents, for the visitors, and for our commuters in all 8 wards here in the district. And thanks to Mayor Bowser's leadership and her investments, my team and I can successfully address the many, many mobility needs and the many challenges presented here in the nation's capital. So Mayor Bowser's historic FY23 investment in mobility include a few things. Let me just highlight a couple of them for you. $200 million over 6 years for long-term streetscape projects to redesign some of our most dangerous roads and our intersections. $36 million over 6 years to add 10 miles of protected bike lanes per year in the district's growing bike lane network. $57 million for completing the K Street Transitway and providing bus and bike lanes throughout our downtown corridor. $102 million over 6 years to continue a very transformative plan to make transit faster and to make it more reliable. $15 million over 6 years to continue expanding our capital bike share so that every resident has a station within a quarter mile of their home. And $125 million over 6 years for new or rehabilitated trails to improve our connectivity and to connect to our bicycle network. And it's because of these investments, DDOT was able to pursue innovative, collaborative, outcome-driven solutions that improve mobility across the district for all of our residents. Over the past year, DDOT has focused on increased system reliability, improved accessibility, congestion management, and safe, affordable travel options, all factors in keeping our residents on the go. So that forward-thinking approach has made DC a destination for innovative companies, and it's a pilot and a test to the technology and business model. So while DC has long been an importer of innovative mobility solutions, I believe that there's an opportunity for DC to be a producer of innovative mobility solutions. The Mobility Innovation District builds upon DC's rich mobility history and positions DC as one of the premier locations in the country for companies of all stages to both demonstrate their technologies and grow their businesses. And the MID's values are closely aligned to what we do at DDOT, and that is extremely important. So while the MID will be a place to test cutting-edge technologies, the core focus will be on how we can create mobility options and mobility and technology policies that improve the daily lives of our residents and our visitors here in Washington, D.C. So we've been an excited partner, and we've been partnering with the MID since its inception. And DDOT staff has regularly interacted with the group to collaborate on strategic priorities that have driven forth the collective goals of their priorities and the district's priorities. And over the past several months, the MID and DDOT have worked together to scope a project that will improve mobility and the ecosystem in the district via demand-responsive transit service for the Southwest DC. And so today, we are proud to celebrate the selection of Circuit and to lead the Southwest Bid Mobility Innovation District. So again, I want to thank you, Steve, for this opportunity, and thank you, Mayor, for all your investments here in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.
We asked Ben Levine to join us this morning. Ben is with the U.S. DOT, and Ben, if you would, please join us.
Thank you. Good morning, and offering a warm welcome on behalf of the U.S. Department of Transportation and Secretary Buttigieg. It's great to be with you, Mayor Bowser, and Deputy Mayor Pelliciccio, and Director Lott, Steve Moore, and Southwest Bid, and a great community of neighbors and entrepreneurs and folks involved in the mobility and transportation system. I wanted to offer just a few quick thoughts about kind of how we're thinking about innovation in the context of the $1.2 trillion Biden-Harris bipartisan infrastructure law that the U.S. DOT is focused on implementing. So last year, or earlier this year rather, we released a set of innovation principles that guide our activities as we think about technology innovation and also innovation in the built environment. And I'll outline those innovation principles because I think they have a lot to do with some of the things that you're all thinking about here today. The first is that we see innovation as a way of guiding our policy priorities. And for us at DOT, that means safety amid a unacceptable and tragic level of roadway fatalities in our country, 43,000 last year. We think about innovation in the context of climate, knowing that that transportation is the largest contributor to greenhouse gases in our country. We think about it in the context of equity, knowing that one's transportation and mobility affects their ability to access good-paying jobs and health and education. We also think about it in the context of building strength and economic competitiveness and needing to build a transportation and logistics system that's resilient to a global pandemic, to international conflict, to sea level rise or other impacts from climate change. And that's related to another innovation principle, which is that we want to win the 21st century and we want innovation to help us do that. And we want to think about digitizing our transportation system, building out resilience, whether we're talking about cyber or physical resilience. We also want innovation to support workers. We want workers to be at the table with us, crafting and co-creating on innovation. And we want to learn from experimentation. And we want to learn from failure in some cases. And we want to acknowledge that innovation is a constantly moving picture. We also really think about opportunities to collaborate. And I'm particularly excited about this initiative just because it cuts across sectors, across public sector, across private sector entrepreneurs, nonprofit organizations, and neighbors, and drives forward a real platform for creativity and collaboration. And then finally, we think about innovation in the context of being flexible and adapting as technology changes. And I think that some of these pilots speak to that type of priority, the importance of thinking about even procurement and public sector procurement in the context of the fact that technology opportunities are rapidly changing. And ultimately, we view these innovation principles as sort of embedded into the way that we're thinking about the broader infrastructure bill, which does a tremendous amount to invest in physical infrastructure. So hundreds of billions of dollars that will go to state and local departments of transportation and transit systems, tens of billions of dollars that will go to nationally and regionally significant bridges and tunnels and intermodal facilities, $7.5 billion that will build out an electric vehicle charging network, $8.7 billion that will support resilient infrastructure, $5 billion for safe streets, $1 billion to reconnect communities. The list goes on. I think that the innovations in physical infrastructure in this setting, seeing so many modes of transportation, seeing helicopters and planes fly above our heads and ferries and bike lanes and roadways, I think reminds us how deeply rooted innovation is going to be in physical infrastructure. But at DOT, we're also focused on driving forward innovation around smart cities and transportation technology. And just last month, we released $160 million as part of a 5-year, $800 million investment in transportation technology. It's the largest investment of its type in our country. Includes 2 programs called Smart Grants and Attain. And I'll let you go and look those up online and learn more information. But I think that some of the philosophies that we're bringing to those programs really embodies the type of work that we're talking about here today. So just really appreciate the opportunity to participate in this program. And I look forward to learning more about how these pilots and other initiatives deliver value both for this community, for the District of Columbia, but also set an example for our country of how we can drive forward innovation in mobility and transportation. Thank you.
So that gives you some flavor of what it is we're dealing with here. I think it's worth mentioning that I brought up earlier the International Space Station, and I said that it travels at like 17,000 miles an hour. Now, when you're at a meeting with Gabe Klein and those guys, they want to know why it doesn't go 19,000 miles an hour, and that's the kind of the problems that they're looking at. And so Ben and Everett are saying, what's the future look like? How do we get there from here? What are our obstacles, you know what I mean? And 2 of them right now that are next for us is looking at electrification and then an urban mobility wallet. And Sham is, in particular, kind of a huge sort of advocate for it ought to be seamless the way you access transportation. And we've got to figure out how we have access to charging, you know. So that's what's next. Thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming. I also especially want to thank our friends from Spin and also Spark Charge for being with us today. Thanks for coming, you guys as well. Circuit, again, congratulations. Thanks everybody for coming. Mayor, thank you.